he didn't show up for that date, I just felt useless. I felt sad. I felt like I can't get nobody because it's the second date in a month. And I just went home and I cried myself to sleep and laid in my bed, and I felt like this is it. This is my life.
Okay, so let's break down that situation. So after the date and he didn't come to the date, you were left alone there. Automatically, what did you think? What thoughts went through your mind?
I'm worthless. I'm useless. I'm never going to find anybody. I'm going to be single the rest of my life. I want to have a family. I want to have kids, and I'm going to be all by myself.
You felt like you were never going to have any of that. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and so then emotionally, you said you felt lonely. You felt like you were worthless, those type things. And then what did you do as the outcome after that?
I went home and I just isolated myself. Friends called me. I didn't answer the phone. I got more responses from the social networking site for dates, and I didn't respond. I just said, what's the point? It's useless.
Okay. What we want things happen is when negative things like that occur, when negative bad things happen in our lives, like we get stood up on dates, that we can continue just to be functioning adult and go back out on those dates. Because even though a few might go wrong, hope there is someone out there where we just have to motivate ourselves to do that.
Yeah. I mean, and I want that. I want to be able to go on a date, and if it works out, great. If it doesn't, you're lost, dude. You know, you feel that it's your loss, dude. But I don't feel that way. I take it very personal, and I feel like if you don't want me, then no one else does, and I'm useless. You don't like me. My dad doesn't like me. Nobody likes me.
Right, and it's those thoughts that, like you mentioned your dad there, that you do bring into it. Like, it's very similar to how you feel after you're rejected by your dad, and you're rejected by these men. I feel like it's just overall, you're seeing that when things are very negative or not going your way, you feel very rejected in general. And that way, then in return, you do feel very sad, very depressed, like you said, and then you do stay at home and isolate yourself. So what we want to do is kind of like retrain our thought process. When something negative comes on, we want to obtain those coping skills that we can use so that way we don't start to feel so down on ourselves. If something doesn't go our way, okay, maybe I need to go and do something that makes me happy. A lot of people might read, you might go for a walk, to kind of like, think about it for a little bit before we act on it. Kind of retrain our thought processes. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Right. I mean, I know you mentioned friends. Maybe we can start putting those into play, talking to your friends. Maybe, even explaining to your dad you all have a close relationship. Maybe getting to the point where you feel like you are able to tell him how you feel. Tell him that this is how I feel, Dad. I feel like you're not treating me the way you should, and I do feel very left out. You may feel very lonely. When you get to that point, then that's definitely something I think should be done. But it does seem like an overall pattern when there is some type of rejection in your life, or someone has let you down, that you do start to feel this way. Yeah. And that is, something that we can work on. Maybe you did tell me some ways you wanted to feel, and kind of tell me some of the goals you have that maybe we can work towards.
I want to improve my self-image. I don't want to feel so worthless. I don't want to feel so like I'm not worth anything. And I feel that if I improve my self-image and feel better about myself, then that would in turn improve how I feel about dates and not take it so personally if things don't work out.
Okay, and a good way we're going to track that, I wanted to mention this to you, is by using the dysfunctional thought record. By filling out this form, which I'll give to you right here, we can start to see some of the situations you're put in that are bringing on some of your emotions and your thoughts and the outcomes, and even the positive and the negatives. Starting from the top, the date and time, we need to see that to see how frequently these things are occurring, to kind of measure them that way. Then the situation, what situation elicited that thought? So let's say what situation you were in, whether it was you were on a date and this is the way you began to think, or just something that happened in your life. And then the thought, automatically what thoughts came to your mind. You were able to identify that you knew what kind of thoughts those were, so those were the kinds we want to put there. Then emotions, what emotions did you feel after that thought? Maybe an adaptive response, some detailed responses to maybe how you could handle things, how you could have acted, and then your outcome, what actually did happen. And we'll kind of go over those to see how frequently some of these negative feelings, these negative thoughts about yourself are occurring. By identifying them that way, we'll be able to look back at them and see how often they're happening and what we can do to kind of retrain those, okay?
Okay.
Any questions you have for me?
No, I just want to, I think I understand. We have thoughts, and our thoughts affect our feelings, which in turn influence our behavior. So that if we can have more positive thoughts, we can have more positive feelings and more positive behaviors. And I really want that. I want to have a more positive outlook on things and not be so pessimistic. I really, really want that. So I'm hoping this helps. I think maybe I should, I got an email from a guy recently who wants to go on a date, and maybe I'll go on that date.
Right, and I think you could, maybe before the date, maybe tell yourself, you did say that you want to feel like you deserve these things, you want to find a family, you want to be happy. Those are things you need to remind yourself of, kind of to get that thought in your mind that I do deserve this. I do deserve to find happiness. I do deserve to feel loved. So maybe one more thing I might add is that you could, between now and then, at least every day, write down some things you know you deserve out of life. So maybe that can kind of work to kind of retrain some of those thoughts, okay?
Well, I'll go on
and bring
that
those as well with you next week.
I will.
Okay?
I'll go on that date, and hopefully it goes well, and hopefully it doesn't.
All right. Well, I will see you next week.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks.